On a desolate road winding through the countryside stood a small shrine. Its weathered surface was marked with blackened soot, its lone candle flickering weakly in the darkness. Locals whispered that the shrine was cursed, and those who passed without bowing in respect would hear their names whispered in the dead of night. Late one evening, a man named David drove down the road, oblivious to the warnings. The headlights of his car illuminated the shrine for a brief moment, revealing streaks of dried blood on the ground around it. He shrugged it off, laughing to himself at the absurdity of the rumors. But as he passed the shrine, the candle flickered violently, and for a split second, he thought he saw a shadow dart across the road behind him. He shook his head and pressed the gas pedal harder. That night, as he lay in bed, the air grew unnaturally cold. At first he dismissed it, but then he heard it, a faint voice whispering his name. "David, David!" It was distant at first, but soon it sounded like it was right outside his door. Terrified, he got up and checked every lock, but his house was secure. When he turned to go back to bed, a loud knock came from his window. His heart raced as he drew the curtain aside, expecting to see nothing. Instead, he was greeted by a face pressed against the glass, pale and featureless except for two glowing red eyes. He stumbled back, the whispering now echoing throughout the room. "Why didn't you bow?" The next morning, David decided to visit the shrine again, hoping to appease whatever had followed him. But when he arrived, the scene was even more disturbing. The candle had melted into a pool of blood, and a wooden sign leaned against the shrine. It read, "Too late." As he turned to leave, his own name was carved into the ground, fresh and dripping. From the shadows of the trees, a figure emerged, its hand outstretched, blackened and skeletal, reaching toward him. David ran, but the whispering followed him all the way home. That night, his neighbors heard his screams, but when they entered his house, it was empty. All they found was a single, bloody handprint on the window, and the faint smell of smoke lingering in the air. To this day, travelers claim to hear whispers when passing the shrine, and some swear they see a figure crouching nearby, waiting for the next disrespectful soul to come by.